Hi, everyone. Good day. Tom Leahy with Optimum Ed, and I'm here with my good friend, Tanda Suarez, who is our Director of Student Counseling at Optimum Ed. Hi, Candace.
Hello, how are you on this warm, sunny afternoon?
It's beautiful out.
It
Beautiful.
is.
Yeah. So, gosh, I thought what we should do today is maybe explain to the folks exactly the process that we go through when we talk about coaching. How does
Yeah.
that how does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. I
Okay.
know. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So I'm going to kind of let you jump in and
Yeah.
explain the process to folks so they really get a better feel for what we do and why we do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've talked a lot on this event that we do every week about the Optimum Ed process that we take high schoolers through, and that all starts with that assessment that you all know I love. The assessment really helps us dig in and figure out direction and what would be the most appropriate fit for a high schooler to figure out what they're going to do first after they leave school. So, and that process is pretty intuitive for the fact that they're, most likely going to be applying to college is the majority of students that we work with. So we take them through that application process, essay writing, college search, all of that. But then I'm also a life transition coach. So I fell in love with the Optimum Ed process and the Optimum Ed assessment that I really wanted to bring something similar to the adult population. So adults that may be experiencing a career, I don't want to say crisis because sometimes you're doing something so long and it fits and you're rolling with it. And then all of a sudden you might say, you know what? I wonder if there's something else I could be doing. Wonder if there's something else that would fulfill and make me grow a little bit more professionally. So, and that's where I come in. And, I start that process with an assessment. I can choose the assessment depending on what your needs are and where you are in life. It could be a mid-career person. It could be someone who's retiring and looking for something to do next as well. It could be a recent college graduate that thought, yeah, this major was great, and now I really hate the work. So what do I do now? So that's the question that I help answer. What are we going to do next?
Yeah, exactly. And how many of us are in the same job for 40 years anymore? I
Right.
mean,
It
you
doesn't
think
really
about it,
happen.
we all have changed careers or directions
Yeah.
a number of times. And so often we do that on a whim, or we just make that decision ourselves without having any help in making that decision and having some substance to that process of
Right.
determining where we go next. And
Yeah.
so that's what transition coaching helps with.
Yeah. And I also think, if you are in your job for 20, 30 years, and you don't feel satisfied, but you think, there's nothing else I can do. I've spent all this time. I might as well just deal with it. Well, I'm not a real believer in just dealing with it. If you don't like something and you have the control to change it, let's talk about how you can change it. So finding that pathway of the career, I use the assessment, but we always say, Tom, that it's that art based on science, right? So the assessment spits out some results and gives some science to it, but then it's really the coaching that we do and really dig in and ask questions and talk about the results and explain them in a way that makes sense. And from there, I also believe that, I don't just want you to build a career. I want you to build a life. I think that, that balance is so important. So the thing that I do next is we do a check-in. I call them buckets, Tom. I call them, like life buckets or containers or cups or however you want to look at it.
So when
And
you help
just
them fill the buckets, is
we're
that
going to fill the buckets. Yeah. But first, we're going to see how full your buckets are already. And
Oh,
I
okay.
look at four main buckets. The first one's going to be work, that takes up a big part of our day, a big part of our year and our life is what we do for a living or how we, contribute. So work is one bucket. And another bucket is health. Mental, physical, spiritual well-being is the health category. The other one is love. That could be family, friends, romantic love. However, all of those things are in the love bucket. And then there's play, which is just the way it sounds, things that you do for enjoyment, and I think at different parts of our lives, some of those buckets are pretty empty, you know?
I need to work on my play bucket.
Yeah, find something that, that you do just for the fun of it and, do more of that to fill that bucket. And then from there, after we've done that assessment of where your buckets are, then we make a plan. We create kind of that vision of what it would look like to have our buckets full. And then we create that plan on how to get there. Yeah. And that's the other part I love is that looking at where you are now and, finding spots for the play and helping to reinforce, the taking care of your health and finding, brainstorming and letting your mind go a little bit and figure out what would work in your life. Now, there's always different parts of our lives, like, when you're raising small babies, where that is all consuming, but that's temporary, so what comes next? Yeah.
So you're trying to balance that so you don't have a bucket that's overflowing and
Mm-hmm.
another one that's empty.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, someone once gave me the analogy of balance, not that typical scale balance that we, think of, that life work balance where one, we try and get them even. They're never going to be even. I like to think of it too. Someone gave me this visual and I like it. Like you think of a child's mobile and how you have all those pieces kind of floating and some, they just kind of evolve around each other and bounce and move. And I think that's a good image, just making sure that you're not off kilter, that you keep some sort of sense of, evenness.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing stuff. So how would people get in touch with you?
Well, I have a website. It's a very simple www.candicesuarez.com. And I've written numerous blog posts too. So if you've never checked out my site, I have a lot of information on there. I have content. You can reach out and contact me through there. My email link is there as well. Or you can reach out to me through Optimum Ed, either place. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a connection through Optimum Ed website,
Yeah.
optimum.com.
Yeah.
Or
Facebook, LinkedIn
Facebook.
connecting, Instagram connecting. I have all three of those are fair. I'm pretty active on all three of them. So it's another direct message way to get in touch with me as well.
So whether it's a young person or
Yeah,
an adult, we can help make that transition and that future plan and coach them through the process.
absolutely.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no,
it.
this is good. Have a good day.
Dude, take care, everybody.